Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening. Welcome to today's section. Please, if you can hear me, for our studio, our audience on YouTube, if you can hear me, please let me know if you can hear me. For our audience on YouTube, if you can hear me, please let me know if you can hear me. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Okay, Stella says she can hear me. All right. So I think we need to remind others to join because the audience on YouTube is very low at the moment. Maybe we should wait for like some few minutes for others to join, or maybe they will pick up. Okay, so good evening everyone once again. Thank you, Stella, if you can hear me. So so today we are going to be looking at the cloud platform. Actually, I think 2 weeks ago, I came and explained some few cloud platform to us already. So today's section is going to be very short one. It's going to be a very short one. Yeah, it's going to be a very short class. So we'll just look at from where we stop. I will go over what I taught us in the previous section as well. So today we're going to be talking about Azure. Please let me know if you can see my screen, and if you can hear me, you can see my screen. Kindly let me know. So let me know if you can see my screen. So for those of us on YouTube, let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? For those on YouTube, can you see my screen? For those on YouTube, can you see my screen? So we're going to be talking about cloud integration and infrastructure, talking about Azure. We already started the session some weeks ago, but we'll continue. We'll continue from where we stopped today again. So welcome to your essential guide to Microsoft Azure, where we are going to be exploring some core concepts and practical application. Get ready to unlock the power of cloud computing. So this week is going to be purely practical. Everything we are going to be doing is going to be practical. I'm going to show you how to use the cloud platform for your data engineering journey. And I believe in your last section, right? In your last section, you were told on how to set up an account, right? I believe they already shared the links to you on your LMS system on how you can set up your Microsoft Azure account. I believe they have done that with you guys already. So we're just going to be talking about some of these Azure services and all. So in our previous session, I mentioned different services around the Azure. We have compute service, the storage service, database, networking services, your Internet of Things, IoT, analytics, and AI. We have different services on the Azure platform. But for the analytic purpose, we are just going to be focusing on what is related to us and what we will focus on analytics platform itself. So please, if you can see my screen, can you let me know if you can see my screen? For our audience on YouTube, if you can see my screen, let me know if you can see my screen. For those on YouTube, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? For those on YouTube, can you type if you can see my screen? If you can see my screen on YouTube, please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you very much, Stella. All right. So we have different service on Azure, and these are the few ones that I can mention. Right, these are the few ones I can mention. So let's move on. Let's move on because of time. We have a very short time today. So we talk about the Azure Portal walkthrough. I think I also mentioned the Azure Portal last in the previous session that I was on the call. I talk about the Azure Portal. I talk about resource group, things that are very, very essential, right? So I mentioned that in the previous section. We talk about subscription, resource group, storage account. Your subscription is where you have your billing, where they're going to bill you, and you have to monitor. We also did budget setting in the previous section. We talk about resource group, which is a logical container for resources. So whenever you are working on a particular project, you create a resource group that is going to that used to group all related work together. Then we have your storage account. We talk about access to blob, file queue, table storage, and all. Then we talk about virtual machine. We didn't talk about virtual machine specifically in our last section when I came on board, right? So today I'm going to show you how to set up virtual machine, how to create a virtual machine, and what you use virtual machine for. So virtual machine is a cloud system which you can use to do your tasks on the cloud. And if you want to collaborate with people, you can use virtual machine to you know you can use the machine on the cloud instead of carrying laptop left and right. You can just create a virtual machine on the cloud and you can use it. So I'm going to be showing you how to set up a virtual machine today as well. So we have networking. These are the services that you have on Azure. Networking essential. I'll talk about virtual network security groups, load balancing, and some other things on the cloud environment. So Azure storage account is something that is very, very essential for us because that is where we are going to be storing our data, and that is where our data lake is going to be. That's it, our data lake is going to be. So Azure actually offer different storage option. We have the blob storage, we have the Azure files, we have the queue storage, we have the stable storage as well. So one thing that I think a lot of beginners always scared of, especially when it comes to using the Microsoft Azure platform, is the cost management. So a lot of beginners is always scared, using the cloud platform because they are running on cost, right? So you need to be very, very um, careful when you're on this platform. So you should be able to know how to manage your cost. So we have what they call the cost management under your subscription. You can look at your cost management, know okay which particular resources is eating up your cost. Okay, is it the compute? Is it the storage account? Is it your networking? Is it your database that is eating up your cost? So you need to be able to monitor which resources or which services is using majority of your cost, and you also need to monitor and optimize your spending way. So security best practice, I also mentioned this in this. I'm just trying to go over what I taught you guys 2 weeks ago around the cloud platform. We talk about best practices, identity management, least privilege, network security, data encryption, and regular auditing. These are best practices that you need to put when you are setting up a cloud environment solution, or when you are creating an infrastructure on your cloud environment. So you have to make sure that you have identity management, least privilege. You don't just give a permission to people anyhow. You have to grant them the minimum necessary permission. Network security, make sure that you create a necessary firewall, to control access for people to access, right? Data encryption, always encrypt your data, right? The regular auditing, make sure that you are monitoring your security and alert so that you don't just get a cyber attack or a lot of people are phishing. So before all these things are very, very essential so that you don't expose your data to a phishing website or to a cyber uh, or the cyber crime so you have to be very careful with that. So that is that about the introduction of storage of Azure and what we talked about in the previous section. So because of time, we have a very short time. We are going to let's just move to the Azure platform. So this is the Azure platform, which I also introduced to you, you know, 2 weeks ago. So this is the Azure platform. And on the Azure platform, I mentioned to you that one of the most important things that you need to first create is your resource group. So you can go to your search bar up here. I believe everybody have Azure accounts now. If you have Azure account now, can you type yes? If you have Azure account now, can you type yes if you have Azure account? If you have your Azure account, can you type yes if you have Azure account? For those on YouTube, if you have your Azure account now, can you type yes? If you have your Azure account, can you type yes? Okay, I think Amande. Okay, I don't know whether the yes is for my question now. I'm saying some yes now. Okay, let me assume that you all have the Azure account. If I didn't get any response, that means that you guys have the Azure account. All right, so let's move on. So set up your Azure account. You can use the free credit, which is 200. Microsoft is going to give you 200 credits for 30 days. And within that 30 days, you can use it to practice and do everything that we are currently doing at the moment. So the first thing that you do is to set up your resource group. So you can go to your search bar here and search for resource group. So search for resource group. So this is your resource group. So let's click on the resource group. So we want to create a resource group. So I'm going to say create. So I'm using a subscription called what pay as you go. So that is my subscription. In your own case, you can use your free subscription that Microsoft give you and all. So, but for me, I'm using my pay as you go subscription. Resource group name. So let me call it. So let's call it AI now. AI now underscore bootcamp. Please, for those on YouTube, if you can see my screen, let me know if you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen on YouTube? Can you all see my screen on YouTube? If you can see my screen, please let's type yes if you can see my screen. For those on YouTube, can you see my screen? Okay, so I'm going to pick region. I think in my previous class as well, I explained what this region is all about. So this is the region where we want to deploy. This is the region where we want to deploy our resources to. So I'm going to click on review and create. So let's create. So we are creating the resource group. So the name of the resource group is called what? AI Now Bootcamp. So let's create it. So let me refresh this place. All right. Thank you, Stella. Yeah. Thank you. So now you can see the resource group, AI Now Bootcamp. So this is the resource group. So we have created the resource group and it is located in where? In South Africa North. I already explained what this region or location means. So now we want to create a virtual machine. I will click on home. You want to create a virtual machine. You can use your search bar at the top here to search for virtual machine. You can see virtual machine. So virtual machine is like you creating a computer on the cloud. And what we use a virtual machine for is to like I said, you might want to collaborate with people, right? You might be doing a project and you want to collaborate with people and you want to use the same system, the same laptop, right? So instead of having physical laptop, you can just create a virtual machine on the cloud and everybody can have access to that system. So let's create a virtual machine. I'm going to click on create virtual machine. So resource group. So I'm going to pick the resource group that I created earlier, AI Now Bootcamp. Then virtual machine name, I'll call it AI Now VM. AI Now virtual machine. Okay, it doesn't accept. Um, Let me see whether it accepts this. Okay, AI Now virtual machine. Region South Africa North. Availability option. No infrastructure redundancy required. So I don't want to replicate this virtual machine in any location. So that is why I pick no infrastructure redundancy. And you can see how much they will charge me, how much Microsoft is going to charge me for creating this virtual machine. So you can see the price here. Now, security type, I'm going to pick standard because what I want to do is just for testing. I'm not doing it uh, you know, for deployment. So I'm going to pick the kind of system I want to create. So for this, I want to create Windows Server 2025 Data Center Azure Edition. So this is the window I want to create. So like I said, it's just for testing. So we're going to create this window. Can you see this window? It's just like say you're creating a laptop. You want to create a laptop or something. Yeah, window. And I will run Azure Spot discount. Let me leave this one. Size. Oh, so what is the size of the CPU, the compute that I want to use? So so you can see this one is $11 per month. Free services eligible. So standard. You can see that other ones have higher price. So you can see this one have $319 per month, $189 per month. So this one are very expensive. So you can see this one are very expensive. So you can see, so the least one is the $11.39. But let's check if we can see another one that have the different price. I'm not sure that there's anyone that is lower than that. So let's just use the $11. So let's use the $11. So let me cancel this. So we are going to use $11 per month. So this is per month, right? Enable hibernation. If you want to hibernate the system, you can enable hibernation if you want to do that. Username. So what should be our username? So let me say the username will be Folex. Then password. So password, let me put my password. So I need to confirm my password. Okay. So public inbound ports, allow selected ports. Yeah. Would you like to use an existing Windows Server license? No, I'm not going to use that one. So let's go to disk. So let's go to disk at the top. Uh, Encryption at host. Image extra. Okay. So okay, we're not doing anything here. Let's go to networking. Let's go to networking. Under the networking, NIC networking group, basic. Okay, this one are okay here. This allow IP address to access, yes. Delete public IP when IP is deleted, yes. So let's delete it. We don't need that. Non-application load balance, blah blah. Okay, don't need all this one. So let's go to management. Your solution is supported by, yeah. Okay. Enable auto shut down. Yeah, we can enable auto shut down. So if you want to shut down, if you want the system to shut down, you can enable it. Notification before shutting down. So you put your email address. It's going to show your email address. It's going to notify you on your email address that this virtual machine is about to shut down when you want to when you want to shut down. Okay, so I think let's go to monitoring. Let's go back to networking. Okay, let's go back to disk. Could not calculate cost. Okay. Um, okay, I think that's all. So let's click on review and create. Please, if you can hear me on YouTube, let me know if you can hear me. Please, for those who are on YouTube, so let me know if you can hear me. For those on YouTube. Okay, so you have set RDP port open to the internet. This is only recommended for testing. If you want to change the setting, so it's telling us that I'm making this RDP port is accessible by the by everybody. So it is now warning me that do I want to do this, or I should only do this when I'm doing test when I'm testing it, right? So I know we are testing, so we can leave it like this. So let's click on create. So you can see how much they are going to charge me, 0.0156 per hour for creating this virtual machine. So anything you are creating on the Azure platform, please, you need to be careful because it's there's cost implication for everything that you are doing. There's cost implication for everything you are doing. So now we are deploying the virtual machine already. So the virtual machine is creating already. We are trying to deploy the virtual machine already. Okay, so you can see we have we have all this networking has been deployed. Public IP address is okay. So now we have to create the machine itself. So that is already deploying. So let's just hold on. So if you have any question, please, if you have any question, you can ask your question. Please, if you have any question, you can drop your question. Okay, so this might take a while. I don't know, depending on the internet and how fast your internet is. So it might take a while. It might take a while. So while this is deploying, maybe we'll come back to this one so that we don't waste much time here. So let's probably we'll come back to this place. We'll come back. Okay, yeah. Your deployment is complete. Okay, interesting. So you can see deployment succeeded. Go to resource. So now we have created our virtual machine. So let's go home. So if you go to your resource group that we created earlier, so under the resource group, can you see we have created all these objects: virtual machine, public IP address, network security group, virtual network interface, and disk. So we have created all these things under your virtual machine. We have created all these virtual machine resources. So all this works alongside with your virtual machine, because we need a security group, because without your security group, your virtual machine might be exposed. So your virtual machine might be exposed to danger, right? To cyber attack, and also, a lot of public IP address. And this is where firewall comes in. You set up a firewall so that you don't give access to just anybody to access your virtual machine, to access your data, right? So now, so let's see, how do we make use of the virtual machine? How do you use it? Because this is a cloud resources. So to use the virtual machine, so let's create the VM. So I'm going to click on restart. So you can see AI now virtual machine agent status is not ready. So let's restart. Okay, it's restarting already. Okay. So okay, let me refresh the entire page. Okay. So now we have restarted the virtual machine. So I believe it's connected now. So you go to your connect. So under the connect on your left hand side, under the connect, so click on connect. So click on connect. Then download this RDP file. You see this RDP file? So download it. So download the RDP file. So once you download the RDP file, go to your file explorer. Go to your file explorer. So you can see AI now virtual machine, the RDP file. So RDP file means remote desktop, your remote desktop file. So they call it remote desktop protocol. That's what they call it, remote desktop protocol. So that's RDP. So you can see the publisher of this remote connection can't be identified. Do you want to connect anyway? Yes, let's connect. So it's asking me for password. I'll click on more choice. Then I'll click on this. So let's click on OK. So let me put my password. Don't forget the password that I created earlier. Okay, let me click on more choice. So let's say use a different account. Let me use different account username for let's. So let's use the username instead of the email. Username for let's. Then password. So you can see. So you can see now. So let's click on yes for this one. Please, can you still see my screen for those on YouTube? Can you still see my screen? So now, can you see we have created a new system, a virtual machine. So you can see. So it's going to look like as if you created a new laptop, right? Like just like a new system, you are creating a virtual machine, right? So and this system you can also access it from your laptop. And if you are working with different people, so you can see is when you first open we first launch a laptop, it's going to take a while. It's going to be telling you to do this, to do that, to set up your you know so so it might take a while for you to boot or for you to be able to set up. So this is just so we are not really doing anything with the machine anyway. We just want to show you how to I just want to show you how to set it up, right? How to create it and how to set it up. So that is the purpose of show. And you can also install. So once you set it up, you can install anything you want on it. You want to install SQL database. You want to install Power BI. You want to install Python. You can actually install anything on it as well. You can install anything on it. I don't know why it's showing blank. Okay, so you can see. Okay, I think it's coming up. So let's just give it some minutes and let me see if it's going to show anything. Okay, so let's see. It might just be because it's a new. We are just setting it up, so it might take a while before it's come up. So probably I can minimize it and probably we'll check it later. So, but you can see that you can see the IP address of the system of the virtual machine that we just created, 422.160. So you can do a lot of things on this virtual machine. You can, do your installation on it. You can do your setup on it. Install different application that you want, right? Based on your workload, based on the workload and the compute that you pick or the disk that you select when you are creating it. So that is that. Is there any question from anyone? Those on YouTube, do you have any question before I proceed? Do you have any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Okay, I think maybe there's no question. So you can see the system. This is the system that we just created. This is not my system. This is not my, if I minimize it now, this is my own personal system so that you can understand the differences. This is my own personal system. You can see the screen of my own personal system. If I go into the remote desktop now, if I go into the remote desktop, you will see the V. Can you see? This is another system on its own. So you can see this is another system. So this is the virtual machine. This is my own system. This is my own system, and this is the virtual machine. And inside the virtual machine, like I said, you can do a lot of stuff within it. You can see that there is Microsoft Edge on it. If you want to browse, you can browse. If you want to do installation on the virtual machine, you can do all sort of that on the virtual machine as well. But I think for efficiency, you might have to pick a very strong disk when you are creating it, because I think this particular one that I set up is just for is the one for the data center, for the Azure data center. So that is that. So make sure if you are using it for a real time work, you have to make sure that you set up a very good virtual machine. I believe this particular one is just it might not even be stable as well, but I believe we have all gotten what I want you need. So on this virtual machine, you can do anything, any installation. So if, for example, Stella stays in Abuja, and Stella wants to access the information on this virtual machine, Stella can access it. The only thing Stella just needs to do is to what? Is to download the HDP file. Then Stella will log in using my credential. Then Stella is going to have access to this virtual machine. So that is how you can make use of the virtual machine. So let's move on. So you can also try it, you can also try it from your hand as well, to see how you can create your own virtual machine as well. So you can see the I'm sure that this is like a window. This is like a window 11. I think this is the window 11 inside the virtual machine. Actually, my personal system I'm even using window 10 on my own personal system. But this system, the virtual machine that we set up, I think is window 11. It's even window 11. Not like I think. It's window 11, actually. And you can see date and time. You can see date and time, network. If you want to accept internet on it, you can also accept internet on it as well. You can accept internet on it. So it might be very slow. Like I said, if you want it to be very fast, you have to make sure that you create a very strong system, right? You create a very strong system. The connection has lost, attempting to reconnect to your section, blah, blah, okay. Yeah, because, I told you that it's a cloud system. So sometimes you might be saying something like this, yeah, because maybe the network is not strong enough. So yeah, you might experience something like this if you are using the virtual machine. So don't be scared, right? If you see something like this, it's going to connect back. Once the internet is very strong, it will connect back. Okay, so let's move on. So once you are done creating your virtual machine and you are done testing, please make sure that you delete it, because the virtual machine is actually expensive, right? The virtual machine is very very expensive. So make sure that you delete all the virtual machine system that you create. And how do you delete it? So you go to your resource group. Then select everything here, then click on delete. So because if you do not delete it and you leave it, if you are using real money, the next day you might just wake up and see that Microsoft have charged you like $200 or even more than that, depending on whatever you deploy. So you need to be very, very careful when you are deploying resources on Azure, right? So you need to be very, very careful. So you can delete everything, apply force delete for selected machine. So when you type delete here, you are going to delete everything in this resource group. So that is what it means. So should we delete it? We can delete it because I'm using my real money actually. So I just use this for testing. So I'm using real money on this account. I'm not using a free account because my free account, my free trial has expired. So I'm using the real money to train you guys, to teach you. Do you understand? I'm using, and by the time before tomorrow now, they are going to charge me for this thing that I deploy here because it also comes with money, right? So they are going to charge me as well. So, but you need to be careful, because if you should leave it till tomorrow, you might see that they will charge you a very crazy bills at the end of the day. So you should be careful, when you are deploying all these resources. So I'm going to delete it because but in your case, if you are working with enterprise organization, you don't have to delete it, right? You keep on using the virtual machine and all. But in my case, it's just for learning purpose. So I don't have to leave it. So let me delete it. So I'm deleting it, executing delete command on 6 selected item. So I would also advise you to delete it if you are not using it. If you just want to practice it, just make sure that you delete it. So now let's create our resource group, our storage account. I think I showed you how to create a storage account the last time. So to create a storage account, so let's create a storage account. So create storage, create. So resource group, the same resource group, storage account name. So let's say, hey, hi, now storage. So hey, hi, now storage. That's the name of the storage. So preferred storage type. What kind of storage type did I want? I want data lake gen 2, storage gen 2, performance. So let's pick standard because I'm using real money. So let me just pick standard so that they won't charge me too much. I'll pick the LRD. That's locally redundant. I don't want the storage to be distributed in too many areas. So I just want it to be distributed in a locally redundancy area. Redundancy like within a particular region, right? Probably it is in Lagos and is in Ikeja. So I only want this storage account to be in Ikeja. I don't want it to be distributed in any other places. It's only Ikeja that I want. So that is what it means. So let's scroll up. So let's go to advanced. So enable hierarchical namespace. So this is what is going to make this storage account to be a data lake. So it will have a directory. You'll be able to upload, you'll be able to create a directory, create a folder. If you do not enable this, you will not have the option to create a directory. Then access tier. I think I explained the type of tier, hot tier, cool tier. I told you that whenever you want to query data, often you use the hot tier. When the data you want to query is not often, maybe it is like 3-month interval, you can use the cool tier. And maybe the data, it is just like a year or 2 years or maybe like 9 months that you query it. So you can put it in what? In cold tier. You can put it in cold tier. So so these are the things that you need to put in mind, when you are setting up this. So let's go to networking. So public IP, public network access. So do you want to allow this storage account to be accessed by the public? Enable. So if you are doing it for testing, you can do that. But if you are doing it for for a real organization, you can't make your networking to be accessed by anybody in the public. No, you have to privatize it or create a private virtual network, right? So okay, so let's go to data protection. Nothing here. Encryption, nothing here. Okay, so let's click on review and create. So we want to create our storage account. So let's create. So the storage account is deploying already. Is deploying. Okay, so now the deployment is successful already. The deployment is successful already. So now let's go back to resource. So you can see container. So you can see different type of storage that we have. We have container, file share, queue, and table. But for this class, we are just going to focus on the container. So now you can see add container. So let's add a container. So let's call it AI now container. AI now container. So you can start with capital letter. You can use underscore as well. But I think you can use hyphen. Okay. So container name. So let's create it. So you can see we have successfully created our container name. Now inside the container now, you can decide to add a directory, like a folder. So let's call it bronze layer or landing zone. Let's call it landing zone. Then let's create it. So inside the landing zone, now we want to import data here. So let me go to upload. Then I'll click on browse for file. So let me go into project, Cloudlytics Hub, Azure Workshop. So I have this data set. These two data, I want to upload them. Open. So I want to upload these two data. So can you see? I have uploaded the two data here. And since it's a CSV file, you can preview the CSV file. So you can see the file here. You can see the file. So so this is it. This is it. So you can see how we are able to create the storage account. So this is where we are going to stop today, because like I said, we have a very short time today, and due to some activities that is going on, right? So we have to end the session on time. So I have very few minutes to spend with us. So any question from anyone? Any question? So tomorrow I'm going to show you how to ingest data from different. I'm going to show you how to ingest data from GitHub tomorrow. How to ingest data from GitHub. If you have data on GitHub, how do you move the data into your container here? How do you ingest the data? So that is what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. So please, tomorrow class is very, very important. It's very, very important. You have to make sure that you join the class early enough, and also invite every other person as well, because tomorrow's session is going to be very, very insightful, right? So any question from anyone? Any question? If you don't have if you don't have question, so I want 2 or 3 people to tell me what they learned today. So if you don't have question, so that we can close the section on time. So just tell me 1 or 2 things that you learned. So anything, anybody, if you don't have question, just say one or two things that you learned today. Please, can you explain how to create a storage account again? Okay, I'll quickly go over it. To create your storage account, so you go to your search box here, just search for storage account. Storage account. So you can see um, you can see create. All right. Okay, so you can see the create button here. So because I already have a storage account already here, I have one here. If I want to create another one, I'll click on create. So then your subscription, resource group, account name. Let me say Stella storage account. Stella storage account. Preferred storage type, data lake, standard. Then I pick redundant, the locally redundancy, and what else? I'll go to the advanced, enable the hierarchical namespace for the structure, for the folder structure, networking. I'm not doing anything here. Then I click on review and create. Stella. Oh, that is fine. So that is how I create the storage account. Stella Nelson. Is that fine? Is that fine? Stella, is that fine? Any other person? Any question? Do we have any question? Anybody that is not clear? Any area that is not clear on what we do today? Okay, thank you, Stella, for that response. So, okay. So, if there is no question from anyone, so I think this is where we are going to. This is where we are going to end the section today. Then, by God's grace, tomorrow we are going to. I'm going to show you how to ingest data from GitHub. Like I said, tomorrow's session is very, very important. It's very, very important. So let's make sure that we attend and we join on time as well. So, guys, see you tomorrow by God's grace. Have a wonderful evening.